Okay.
We are in front of the church of Saint Charbel and his sister Papaya from the 3rd century. They are from Persian, and we have this spirituality in all the country. Came from the Persian church to Lebanon, to the Maronite church. The front of the church is belong to the 19th century. For that, at this period, the Maronite church became prosper and they have a nice situation in some way. So they rebuilt the front of the church with this stone, and they make at this moment the doors bigger and bigger because before it was so short and so thin. We cannot have it so high and so big. You will see from the outside the history before coming inside. If you look at outside, you have these steps, but you have at least 3 to 4 period.
Yes.
So the oldest period is from the pagan
Pagan
period,
days,
from the Phoenician period, and with the temple for the Phoenician, who became with time a church. And after the crusade, when arrived to Lebanon, to the Mount Lebanon in the 11th and 12th century, they make the form that we call basilica form. That means they make it bigger, the churches that they saw it when they arrived to Lebanon. And the end of this part, it's from the 19th century, but the something special inside. The inside is from the first millennium too. So I will show you from the inside how we have many period together from the first millennium, second millennium, especially from the first millennium and the 12th century till the 19th and 20th century.
You could see the original stone.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
If you go inside, you see the tomb of a lady. She's the daughter of a bread maker from the Crusade period, who dedicated for her this mausoleum. And she was died here in Maad. So they make for her a memorial tomb, and she's buried here.
She's buried
Here. We have the stones from the Roman period because we have Latin on it, Greek, and some.
Look at this.
And some of the stones are from the Greek period. So we have Phoenician, Greek, when Alexander the Great came to the area, from the Roman period, from the Byzantine period, and from the Crusade period, and from the Ottoman period. You will see it inside.
Look at this column.
Yeah, that's an older church. From outside, you cannot tell. You said it's a new, but from the inside. We have altar for the sacrifice from the pagan period, because when we make the sacrifice, we have the blood inside this cow. That's belong to the old period. You have the explanation, I think it's French here and Arabic, but you have the mosaic from the Byzantine period, and you have in Greek and in Latin for the stone that you have it on all over. Some of, we call that in French chapiteaux, that means when the column end, the end of the columns, we know if they are Greek or Roman. For example, this one is Greek period. This one is Greek period, and you will see inside is Gothic, we call that Gothic period. You will see it's from the Greek period, that the Crusade period, they used this stone that was here to rebuild the basilica. That means they take care of the old material to build something new in the 12th century. Now we are in the 12th century. So we go inside.
You wonder how they built everything. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you. What you do?
We go inside, you will see the column with the end, we call that the head of the column. From many periods, we have from the oldest day and from the Greek with the cone of the lamb, if you see, مثل رون الخروف. That's from the Greek period. The 4 columns, they are from the Greek period, and the rest they are maybe from the what we call the Phoenician period. Yeah. we are going to go inside to see much more.
You wonder
And the
how they-
blue decoration is
Yeah.
from the Ottoman period, that's mean 15th, 16th century. So we have a lot of periods inside. Lots of history.
Wow.
This element inside of the church told us that the church, the oldest church, was in this side, and that's the place, citern, where we have water, we put water. It was outside. But when the crusade arrived and they want to make basilica for, this element is inside of the church, is not outside of the
I
church
see,
anymore.
yes.
So they added to the big hall of the
yes,
church.
yes.
And it was using for purification in the time of the pagan, and after for the Christian they use it for baptism, because there are water, they use it for baptism. So it's a baptismal font in some way, that they don't use it anymore. If you look into this upside, we call that the apside, behind the altar, I will show you, I will put light if I find the way. You see? So, you have the icon of Saint Charbel martyrs. Martyr is martyr from the martyr. The old Saint Charbel. That's it was. We think that he's inside, but some of the who make research about this painted wall, they said it's John Maran. And some of them, they said it's Cyprian, one of the holy fathers of the church. So we didn't identify this person in the middle of the icon of the painted wall, but we are sure from the others. There are St. Peter, St. Paul, and the four Gospels, Matthew, John, Luke, and Mark. There are six, three from this side, three from this side. We have Peter and Paul, and the four evangelists. The four evangelists, Matthew. No, they have only the icons. That's the Catholic Church. If you look into the altar, it's from the Roman period. Roman period. We look like the first one that we saw.